Hey there, Minnesota Vikings fans. You are listening to the Purple People podcast. My name is Kyle West. I am accompanied by Adam Carlson.
I'm here this week, yeah.
Yeah! We got Kyle Smith with us.
Yeah, I'm in a mood today, so get ready.
Woo! We got
Uh-oh.
all three of us. We're all finally together. The gang is back together. We're all on for the same show again.
Been a
Boys,
little while. Scheduling's been difficult.
yeah.
But right now we got episode number 206 going. This is going to be kind of a short show since we were very late with last week's show running into everything. But we are going to talk Vikings football. Episode 206, Pranksgiving. We'll talk about the pranks coming up.
Yeah.
But as always, let's start off with some quick hits.
Mm-hmm.
During the offseason, you often hear a lot of stories about players doing charity work or grinding, going and running hills and things like that. Cornerback Xavier Rhodes did something pretty cool. He went down there and he is childhood friends, well, not childhood friends, but him and Antonio Brown, the wide receiver from Pittsburgh, grew up near each other, went to the same school, a couple years apart, but they both come together in the same little town, and they figured why not play some football. Well, of course, when you got friends of friends, and everybody starts showing up. Eventually, Xavier Rhodes was down there working out with Odell Beckham Jr., Antonio Brown, Jarvis Landry, and some of the top players in the NFL. And when he is in the offseason competing against these guys, and they go hard. They go hard in the offseason. These are guys that work hard at their craft to be the best. And Xavier Rhodes, don't get me wrong, he's a great player, but you don't hear about him the way you hear about Antonio Brown or Odell Beckham or even Jarvis Landry to that extent. But Xavier Rhodes going up against this kind of competition in the offseason, it's a good sign for him. It's good to see him working out with these guys, and maybe we'll see another step from him this year. Who knows?
I like it. I think he's poised to have kind of a breakout season for Minnesota, even though he's already, I think, a star in our opinion. But I think you're going to see him really kind of step into his own game this year. I think he's got the best talent that he's had around him, just defensively, and I think he really, really is going to flourish underneath Mike Zimmer this season.
Rose close. I love it. And you know
Yeah.
what's best? Two out of those three receivers are better than Jordy Nelson. So,
Oh, Packers burn.
I had to. I told you guys I'm in a mood today. No, that was probably my favorite quick hit, even though it's the first one. I think what you do in the off season says as much as what you do going into camp. Still technically the off season, but even when you're preparing, like going straight into the first game, I think it says a lot because you hear all the stories about guys showing up out of shape or, man, he doesn't look like he did last year. He looks like he lost a step. So this is really cool. I think it's
Brian McKinney.
I read an article the other day. Some guy showed up out of shape because his wife got pregnant, and he said I got dad bod or something like that. I don't know. That's something to look into. But you see those guys that either they slump or they want to maintain, and I love the fact that he wanted to maintain.
See, he could have pulled a Darren McFadden and dropped his phone, bumped his elbow going down, and broke it.
Yeah, what?
Don't
What?
worry.
We gotta look more into that. What the hell happened there?
They called it a cell phone accident. But for a second, let's be a little honest here about Xavier Rhodes. We all love Xavier Rhodes. We do. We saw what he can do. But outside of Vikings fans and the local media in Minnesota, he's just another guy.
Mhm.
And let's be honest, for cornerbacks, getting that kind of notoriety can't be easy. You have to really establish yourself as a big player or make some big plays. You almost have to be an interception machine.
Yes.
Mhm.
In
And
my
he's not gotten to that level to get that kind of recognition yet, but who knows?
in my humble opinion, the hardest position outside of quarterback is corner. And like you
Oh, I
said,
100% agree with you.
unless you're just like Adam said, if you're just a pick machine or you're just breaking up every single pass thrown your direction, you're not going to have that Richard Sherman kind of name going around. So you're 100% right. Maybe this is
And also, it also helps if you're a big talker. And Xavier Rhodes is a pretty quiet, pretty humble kid. And a lot of the corners that get a lot of notoriety in the league are someone like a Richard Sherman, who was a really larger-than-life character, who was going to go out there and he's going to talk and he's going to, he's going to perform and he's going to back it up as well too. But he's a character off the field. And Xavier Rhodes is like a lot of the talent in Minnesota, kind of a quiet, humble kid that you don't hear a lot from. And I think that's part of the reason why we got guys like him and Harrison Smith that even though they're really good, they don't really get much major mainstream media coverage.
What I kind of want to see is I want to see one of the new guys coming to the team rub off on some of these corners. I know that Mackenzie Alexander, second-round draft pick, a lot of people aren't expecting a lot from him, but the attitude he can bring to that locker room, he has that I'm the best cornerback, I'm going to work hard to be the best, I will get your recognition, and you will respect me.
I love it.
I want that attitude to rub off on some of these Vikings corners because right now it just isn't really, it's not visible to us. It might be visible on the field. Maybe he's fantastic and talking trash and getting in little jabs on routes and things like that, and we just don't see it. But man, if I could see that kind of play from those cornerbacks, I'd feel even better. Moving on, we've got some big praise coming from the Minnesota Vikings coaches and training staff about Cordero Patterson. Apparently, he's showing up to the training camp. He's in fantastic shape. He's running much crisper routes. And from a quote that I read, he has finally learned what putting in work means.
I like it. We've all wanted to be really big Cordero Patterson fans for a long time, and we've all wanted to see nothing but to see him succeed for the Vikings. And it would be spectacular if he could catch on, and this could be the season for him. So I really like the way that he's getting the praise from the coaching staff. That's a good sign.
I know I've talked about this on like every show that we have, but I follow him on Snapchat. Number one, just because it's Snapchat, it's not too serious. He is really, really funny. He has replied back to me a lot, actually. I've talked to him about 4 or 5 times. Nothing, it's not anything lengthier than a sentence or so, but he's very cool to the fans and all that good stuff. But you see him every day. He's always in the sauna after a workout with his teammates. I've seen a couple of things that made me happy. It's like, hey, man, I'm out here getting it. Where's everybody else at? Like, he's out running, doing laps or something on the field and nobody else is around, getting that extra time in at the gym or that extra rep that he wants, or he's always constantly thinking about how can I get better at stuff. And I think it might be one of those, if this is the season, it'll be one of those better late than never seasons. So I hope that's what it is. I think we all hope that.
Do you guys think that drafting Laquan Treadwell, I don't want to say helps to motivate him, because I would like to believe that any player in the NFL is self-motivated, but do you think it did kind of maybe help him realize that there are no guarantees in the NFL, and he was a first-round pick, but here is another first-round pick at wide receiver, and so it's really time to go out there and make your mark on this team. Do you guys think that helped him out?
Well,
I think that's fair.
Go ahead.
No, I think that's fair. I think that's since he's the last first round wide receiver he had, there's nothing saying that probably hasn't crossed his mind.
Mm-hmm.
He has sat there and he's watched Charles Johnson, Stephon Diggs, and now Treadwell to take a starting wide receiver spot. There have been spots where Adam Thielen has started over him. He's got to be sitting there wondering, what do I got to do to get it done? And from what I understand before from the quotes from him and the staff, before he just wasn't putting in the work, and now he's putting in the work. He's impressing. He's going to earn some more playing time. He's going to continue to be one of the better kick returners in the league, and if he can contribute more in the passing game, add that to the kick returner, he actually could be a valuable piece of this team, even if he doesn't ever live up to that first-round draft pick rating.
If he can develop into wide receiver number 3 for this team, combined with what he does, like you said, in kick returns, pass punt returns if we need him, that's pretty darn good. And I'm not one of those fans who gets too caught up on where a player is drafted, so long as they are contributing to a contributing factor to the team. I think that's the important part.
Here's the fun thing I thought about while you guys were talking too. We've already seen, and we're going to talk about Laquan here in a minute, but somebody has high praise for him. Good article, by the way. You got to think best and worst case scenarios, right? We've already seen what the worst case scenario is. We just talked about it. You got guys that have Mr. Mankato super wonder stories that come in and make big splashier plays than he did the last couple of years. But think about the best case scenario here, which flip it around, because I know, especially me, I'm guilty of it. I give him a hard time on the show. You think about him being the last first-round wide receiver we have. Let's say Laquan Treadwell turns into who we want him to be, and somehow Cordero Patterson figures it out. You imagine having those two guys coming around as two big threat options?
And Stephon Diggs and Jarius Wright. That'd be a pretty poignant receiving core right there.
If everybody can click on most all cylinders, this could be a scarier wide receiver core that nobody saw coming.
And they all get benched for Mobo.
Oh, Adam, I knew you were going to go there at some point. The positives, too. Have you guys seen the photos of Teddy Bridgewater, who really looks like he's bulked up this offseason?
He's got some arm strength there. I've seen those muscles.
Teddy's got the guns sticking out, man. He looks like he's ready to just be like, deep. I can't throw a deep bomb. F you guys. Here this goes.
When him and T-Pat were doing the paper scissors rock, you could see the bulging there. That was nice.
I know, man. He must be taking tips from AP because AP's got the big, huge biceps like that as well too. So
maybe this will help Teddy Bridgewater finally be able to throw the ball down the field.
Oh man, that was good. I've never heard that one before.
Yeah. I'm liking Teddy. I'm liking Teddy's whole off-season attitude that he's brought in. We've talked about it before. I don't think he's left Winter Park this whole off-season. He's just been working, and he seems to have bulked up, which addresses a little bit of the concerns that people had maybe about durability, maybe about arm strength. Yeah, skinny knees. You hop on the knee machine and get your knees pumped up. I don't know how that works. But he also seems much more relaxed as well, too. If you guys notice, the rock, paper, scissors video that you pointed out, Adam, that's kind of a side of Teddy that we've only glimpsed a little bit, where he's been jokey and relaxed and having fun, but he's usually so serious. And yeah. I like this side of Teddy where we're seeing him cut loose with the guys in the locker room and build that chemistry and just go out there and have fun and play some football and win some games. This all feels like we're headed in a really good direction.
When I was watching the paper scissors rock video, all I could think about was Brett Favre pants on the ground.
Oh my God, you're right. You're right.
Oh,
you're right, Adam. Yeah.
Hey. Man, it's been
a
while.
All I had going through my head. It's like that same kind of thing. Him trying to bring everybody together. You saw everybody huddled around. All eyes were on him.
Oh, that's a fantastic comparison, Adam.
The moment we stop this podcast, I'm watching.
I'm going to go back and watch that. Yeah, we'll post that on the podcast page.
It is. It's good stuff.
That's great, though, because Teddy has always talked about how Favre was an idol of his, whatever, and a lot of people didn't get the comparison. Yeah, no one really...
He's got to run up behind people and slap their butt as hard as he can. Just get the Ric Flair going on. Woo!
Oh, man.
I'd like to take a second to thank those that are joining us here in the chat. We've got Alex there joining in the conversation, welcoming us to the group, and we appreciate that. You guys are always welcome to come on in here. We got the Google Hangouts going on over on YouTube. Every time we record live over here on YouTube. And you guys are always welcome to join us, especially if you are one of the people that usually listens through iTunes or Stitcher or Google Podcasts, which we are now on. We're moving up.
And remember, yeah, you guys watching on YouTube, click on that subscribe button down there. Give us a sub if you're not already. The more subs we get, the closer we can get to doing more better, cooler, fancier things on YouTube. So tell all your friends, get them, help spread the word for us.
And absolutely, when you hit subscribe too, it'll let you know when we have our scheduled shows coming up. You'll get a notification, an email, whatever you want to set up.
Yeah, right on your phone.
Anything you want. Mm-hmm. But it'll let you know when we're going live, and we'd love to have you here to talk football with us. Mm-hmm. We always love interacting with you guys there on the side. But let's keep the train rolling here. Let's talk about some cheerleaders. So for the while there, the Minnesota Vikings were the only team in the NFC North to have cheerleaders. Why? Well, too cold down in Chicago. Green Bay brings in the high school cheerleaders every once in a while to do their thing, but they never had an official squad. But now this year, now that the Detroit Lions have new management and are heading in some different directions, they're going to have a new look on the field there without Calvin Johnson. But they are going to have some good-looking pieces on the field because they're going to have some cheerleaders this year.
That's their Calvin Johnson replacement. Like, we're sorry we drove Calvin Johnson into retirement. Have some cheerleaders because our product is going to suck on the field otherwise.
Oh, come on, they aren't that bad.
No, I have to defend Detroit. I know they didn't do great last year, but they won the last 7 games? That's kind of weird.
They came on strong at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't count for anything, but hey, you won 7 games, so that's cool.
Jim Bob Cooter turned them around.
Jim Bob. Forgot about Jim Bob. Oh my God, Jim Bob Cooter reference. You can tell it's the off season.
We'll be talking a lot more about Jim Bob Cooter in the future too. I bet.
That's what my hoodie would say if I was a Lions fan. It would just say Cooter on the back with the Big 10.
Cooter.
Would you really wear the number 10 if you had that customized jersey?
I would not, but you know what? We're going to keep it PG today. I know we're
PG is good. So how long do you think before the Chicago Bears either get cheerleaders or the Lions drop cheerleaders? What do you think will happen first?
I don't think that either team is going to budge with it just because they're outdoor teams. And being up in the Midwest, I really don't see them doing it. Green Bay don't really change that much what they do, and I just don't see Chicago.
Hell, I'm from Carolina. Like, I've been to plenty of Panther games, and even when you get into November, December, and even January, it's pretty damn cold down there. I couldn't imagine being in Detroit or Chicago. Chicago being the worst, like Chicago in late December. Ugh.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
All right, so putting you on the spot, what do you call the Detroit Lions cheerleaders? What do you got to give them a name?
The Lionettes? I don't know.
I don't know. Sad.
The pretty kitties?
The what?
The pretty kitties.
Pretty kitties. I just call them sad because they're Detroit Lion cheerleaders.
Oh.
Hey, they're getting paid. They're doing fine.
Just kidding. I love the NFC North.
I will feel bad for them if they've got to go take road games over to Green Bay in the middle of the year. But the cheerleaders only work at home, right? They don't go. Do they travel with the team?
I think they only do home games. I've never really paid attention.
I have not paid attention. I don't know.
Failed today.
Paying attention to that.
My
because
it's 0.
Back when we had the traitor Ragnar on the team, did he travel around with us to road games?
I don't know.
I don't remember. Maybe he did. Don't you remember him? I don't know.
If anyone knows, let us know because we don't know.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments section how stupid we are over this subject.
I feel like this is the thing Tommy Gunn is like etching on his phone right now. He's like, why don't you guys know this crap?
Right. Yes, totally cheerleaders travel with teams, and so does Ragnar and everybody. I don't know.
Vicodontis Rex. We'll pull him out of retirement.
The Vicodontis. All right, so Bucky Brooks over on NFL.com did an evaluation of the high points and the low points for each of the first skill position 2 rounds of the NFL draft. And Laquan Treadwell was actually given a lot of love by Bucky Brooks. Brooks not only said that Treadwell is going to get the most receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns of any wide receiver in the NFL draft this year, but he also said 10 touchdowns, 65 receptions, 850 yards. And I had to quiz some of the other hosts here as to the last Vikings wide receiver that had 10 touchdowns or more, and it wasn't pretty.
Yeah, we guessed in the bracket. Yeah. I had thought maybe Sidney Rice in 09.
I said Sidney. I said Percy.
Yeah. Bernard Berrien.
Receiving touchdowns are hard to come across for these Vikings in the past.
It was Randy Moss, right?
Yep, had to look all the way back to Randy Moss.
Yeah, 2004, right?
I don't know, but it was a long time ago. I
think it was 2004 Randy Moss.
Like, the Browns can't draft a quarterback, we can't get a decent wide receiver. Why do we have this curse? I don't get it.
Can't even bring him in free agency. That's the bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or we let him go. Didn't we just talk about Greg Jennings? What the hell? He's not going to get 10 touchdowns, but I'm still mad at you, Rick. Why did you let him go? And he even asked to come back. Come on.
Although, to be fair, it has kind of been Adrian's team. So when they get down to the red zone for like at least the past he's been with us for what 10 years now. The past 10 seasons, it's kind of you hand the ball off to 28 and let him plow into the end zone.
Oh yeah,
This is true. When people say,
That's generally yeah.
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say that's generally how the team is like set forward to score. Is that you maybe don't necessarily ask your receivers to put up a 10 touchdown season for you because of that.
You know, when you mentioned how much AP gets the ball, I'm surprised when people are like, yeah, man, AP got 11 touchdowns last year. Honestly, when you've had Adrian on the team for 10 years, you're like, he only got 11?
Yeah, really.
Weird. I honestly expect him to get a touchdown every game. That's just me. But,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
A touchdown.
I fall into that as well.
yeah, I expect it every game. And then when he doesn't have a 16 touchdown season, I'm like, damn. But then you look and see, like, oh, well, he had 1,600 yards. Meh.
We all fall victim to that too as Vikings fans, where we expect so much from him that you're like, yeah, and he only scored one touchdown, and he only had like 120 yards rushing on the day. Like, come on, like, what was that? Like, we need like 4 touchdowns and like 300 yards out of him.
I love that he led the league in rushing this year, and we're all just sitting there saying, it wasn't a great year for him.
Like, it's kind of an off season when he led the league in rushing.
We were talking about wide receivers a little earlier, so let's talk about a couple of veteran wide receivers that are open to returning to the Minnesota Vikings. The first one was a video that came out today where Roddy White said that he would love to come and join the Vikings. He has some ties to the coaching staff here, and he said that he would love to come and play for the Minnesota Vikings. He listed a couple other options as well, but Minnesota Vikings was the one that he said he would love to come to.
We're pretty full. Oh, go, Mr. Smith.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's a lag. I swear I'm not trying to keep interrupting you. Yeah, you said it right on the head. Like, yeah, we're full. I was gonna say, I was kind of pooping on him earlier, not because I don't like Roddy White. Side note for me, I played baseball growing up, and then I wrestled in middle school and high school. So I never played football. Just a big fan. Roddy White was a 2-time state champ wrestler. Really cool. I do like Roddy White, but I kind of said he was old earlier, so I don't think we want to go that Mike Wallace route again. But Adam jumped in, and he said what you're all thinking. He's a completely different wide receiver than Mike Wallace. I think these guys that want to come now, like Greg Jennings wants to come back.
That was the next guy I was going to say. Greg Jennings expressed interest again in returning.
I love it, but it's like, man, why did the older guys, like, why couldn't you have called us 4 years ago, Roddy? We would have took you.
You know why they're not on now. You know why.
I know why, because we're a contending team.
Yep.
They're chasing that ring, and they know that there's very few contending teams, and that they feel like Minnesota is a destination to go to. That should make Vikings fans really super excited. As for Roddy White, we're full right now. I don't think you need to bring him into training camp or whatever because he's not going to make the team, and that's not really a knock on him. It's the fact that there's other guys that would be younger guys that would be in front of him. But if injuries were to happen, if something was to happen to a couple guys on the team, hey, maybe you give him a shot if he's still available. I would understand that. I would be okay with that. Because if it comes down to, like, hey, we need a receiver, and it's Movo or it's Roddy White, who are you guys going to pick? I'd rather have Roddy White out there on the field for the Vikings.
Roddy White still has some gas in the tank. He can come out and play. The problem is that you don't bring in a veteran that only has maybe a year or 2 or maybe even 3 left and compromise that as a player that has much higher potential and is much, much, much younger. You just don't do that. I don't see him sticking around to be a free agent in the offseason. Some team is going to bring him in, and he will earn a roster spot. He might have to come in and be a situational guy, but he has some solid hands. He can come in and contribute. He will play somewhere, but it probably won't be in Minnesota.
You'd think, and we always say Cleveland is like the destination for players like this, but you would think that Cleveland would need a veteran like presence in their receiving room, just based on how
they just cut Bo, didn't they?
They just drafted like 15 receivers. I don't know if they got any room.
Well, they did, but I mean, they'd still use like a veteran guy to help these young bucks out, you would think.
I mean, Dwayne Bowe's still a free agent too, isn't he?
I think so.
You know who's screaming for a Roddy White on the team there? RG3. That's who. Definitely would love that. I know that's got to be frustrating starting in a brand new team and having a bunch of rookies to throw to. But
RG3 also would have control over a bunch of young guys who might look up to him, respect him more than a veteran that's been around for a little while, and may want to take a little bit of more control in the huddle. So it's either
damn you,
way.
Adam. Damn you for making sense.
We just turned into the Dog Pound podcast there for a minute.
Well, a lot of it applied to Minnesota too. We had similar problems here, not more than a couple of years ago, when we needed Teddy Bridgewater to come in and be a leader. And sure, he came in, he played some good football, he made some strides. But last year, I don't know if I would put the leader tag on him. This year, during preseason, he's finally showing a little bit more of that stuff during the off-season training camp. But we need to see it on the field a little more. He can still bark out orders, which is awesome. But it seems like he's getting a little bit more of that respect and camaraderie that we just need from a quarterback. Haven't had it since Favre.
True.
Been a while.
True, very true.
You sure it's not
So,
Josh Freeman confusing
the
one?
next not-so-quick hit.
Yeah.
We know that Teddy Bridgewater loves to play Madden, and we talked about Jarvis Landry a little bit earlier, but those two like to meet up on Madden and just play some football. Now, the funny thing is that Jarvis Landry has this interesting thought that he wants to beat Teddy Bridgewater using the Minnesota Vikings and beat Teddy Bridgewater with Teddy Bridgewater. I have a feeling that if he wanted to change that up a little bit and play as one of the teams, with a little bit different of a skill set, because let's be honest, Madden's a passing game.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe do a little bit better with someone like Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers or something like that, but who knows? Maybe. Never know. You guys play Madden?
I have not played Madden in, I don't think, in 2 years now. I just haven't. I used to play it all the time, just didn't really get into it much anymore. I don't know.
I had 2 game systems. I gave them away, and I had Madden on my Xbox, and I had the classic game Gun. I don't know if you guys like old westerns, shoot 'em up. And then I had a Wii, and I loved Wii Bowling. But I'll tell you what I did. I did the impossible on that Xbox with Madden. I won the Super Bowl like 7 years in a row with Brett Favre the year after he was on the Madden cover or whatever. And then I traded him to the Vikings because he was still with, I believe he was with the Jets that year. He was on the cover. So, yeah, I traded him to the Vikings and did all that stuff to follow up the next year. But, man, I used to play the heck out of some Madden. That'd be pretty cool. But I wonder why he wants to play as Teddy Bridgewater to beat him. That's kind of – I want to know the story.
It's a little weird, isn't it?
That's kind of odd. I would rather beat him playing with Ryan Tannehill as myself, right? Because he's with the Dolphins, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that would make much more sense to me. I need to know why. Jarvis Landry, come on the show and tell us now.
Everson Griffin had a great quote about preparing for this season. He said, and I quote, "I'm going to grind until I can't grind no more to get my body in tip-top shape to win the championship." And you look at a guy like Everson Griffin, and you believe those words.
Mm-hmm.
You have no reason to doubt that he's willing to put his body through any amount of hell in order to succeed. The amount of intensity that he brings on game day, his physical physique, his quickness off the snap. This is a guy that's constantly trying to get himself better. He's working hard every day. Just a physically freakish specimen that will continue to get better. And as long as he keeps pushing himself, the sky's the limit.
And you know what? Locker room leader as well, too.
That's a solid point. You know, every time we talk about Everson, the first thing that comes to mind, the first year we were outside and he had that interview after the game, and he just starts freaking out. I think about it every single time. He's like, there he goes. He's fantastic. Like, he's the kind of, I would take him to a party, like a family party with me somewhere. Mm-hmm. But you're right. I think less and more, and I'm not knocking Everson at all. You have some guys like Teddy's. Teddy's really like intellectually spoken, probably because he's the quarterback and he has to be. Then you have the guys that just cut loose, and he's here. Like, I heard your quote that you said about him. I'm thinking, I just want to hear him say it. because the way he would deliver it would just
Yep.
fire me down.
He could read the phone book and get you hyped up. That's the kind of guy he is.
Oh yeah.
But like you were
He's a
talking about,
character.
that overtime game with Jarius Wright catching that screen, bringing it back to the house, when Everson Griffin looked up at the monitor and was given the play-by-play to go with it, you just couldn't help but feel that excitement. You know, if you didn't get goosebumps from that as a Vikings fan, I don't know.
He's a character to watch up in Mankato at training camp too. It's always funny to just watch him interact with players and fans, and they ride like you've probably seen the photos where most players ride bicycles like to and from the buildings and stuff. And for some reason, Everson had one of those. I don't know what do you call them? This is the hoverboard thing with like the two wheels and like the handle that sticks out of it, and he was like playing around on one of those, and he almost fell off from it. He's just entertaining as heck to watch.
So much fun.
Yeah, good interaction with fans too. Like he's a very approachable player. If you ever get a chance to meet him, like he will come up and he will.
He was my absolute favorite on 96 Questions with B-Rob. His answers were the absolute.
Oh, no shot.
I like the whole dating the sister thing. That was great.
Oh man.
Who would you not let you date your sister? Everson Griffin. I swear, like 3/4 of the team said that. That was amazing. Either of you guys want to handle the main topic this week?
I would love to take it. I got to see this live because I just happened to be bored and off work, and at the same time they were getting done with practice, and basically I had to send it to Adam for you guys. Little plug here. I won't do it at the end of the show. Snapchat, if you have it, it's BKS Brandon Kyle Smith K9, like my job. So I'm following Cordero Patterson, and I follow the Vikings team. I don't really know if anybody else is. I'm going to dig into that, see if we can find some more. But I sent Adam and Kyle the message super quick, and I was like, oh my gosh, I had to go back through the story and snapshot it. But basically, Laquan Treadwell's birthday, his 21st birthday, was this past week. And he drives a really nice car, by the way. I think it's, a Range Rover?
Signing bonus.
Yeah, must be nice. So I look over, and he left the sunroof open, I guess. But the story for this is he parked in Teddy's spot multiple times, and rookies are going to get pranked. That's how it works. Hence the title for today's show, Pranksgiving. But this would being a multiple-time offender, they ordered, I think, 80,000 bags, I think it was, or 60,000 bags?
60,000 packages.
60,000 individual packages of Welch's fruit snacks and poured them in through the moonroof. And it was hilarious. I was dying when I got off work the other day. So it was cool. Thanks to Cordero Patterson, but he wasn't the only one. Like, everyone on the team was out there with their videos on their phones and whatnot. But it was Teddy Bridgewater and Kyle Rudolph who came up with this, and they were all for it. They were posing afterwards. They were pretty proud. And the look on Laquan Treadwell's face was pretty priceless.
It was great stuff. Major props to Welch's. Did a great job helping out with that, keeping it all on the down low. Also, I love Sports Illustrated. On Fansided, Sports Illustrated is part of the Time Network, which Fansided is. Over on Extra Mustard, they felt that the prank was not funny because the prank involved packages rather than items themselves, and it'd be easy to clean up, and that it wasn't funny. It was just a nuisance. I disagree. I think it's fun because it's not going to cause damage. It's not going to be difficult to
ruin
clean
his
up.
vehicle.
That, to me, just says that somebody needed something to complain about. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny.
When I used to work at the grocery store, what we'd do is we'd go in when the cashier was on tier 1 so they couldn't leave. When they were on the first till, we'd go outside, we'd spray honey all over their vehicle, and we'd wrap it with Saran wrap.
Adam.
Ooh.
Oh, that's
tough.
harsh.
We were awful people. I did horrible things when I was younger.
They'd much
I'm all
rather
grown
have
up
the
now. I'm a
food
better
snacks.
man. But I was known to have some pretty good pranks back in the day.
We'll have to talk more offline. Actually, that should be a question. That should be a social media question right there.
God.
Oh my, yes. That could be one. Maybe one day we'll ask what kind of terrible pranks you guys pull when we need some topics to talk about. But in reference to what you said, Adam, I think it's somebody just complaining a lot. I mean, this kid's obviously a first-round pick, 23 overall, and I don't see anything wrong because it was an easy cleanup. But I mean, it's 60,000 packages. That took like a half an hour, I'm sure. And if I'm a betting man, I'm willing to help. I'm willing to say that nobody helped him clean all that up. So I think it's hilarious.
I mean, what were they supposed to fill the car with? You know, the individual jelly snacks or used marital aids?
Styrofoam peanuts, packaging peanuts.
I don't
know.
I don't know. To me, I thought it was the perfect mix of nuisance and surprise to where it was fun, playful, but not rude or hazing. And these days, if you do something like I did, you know, where you go and spray honey on someone's car and then wrap it in saran wrap, these days people get offended by that, and it happens. You got to play it kind of safe these days. This isn't
back to Jared Allen.
Yeah.
Or Everson Griffin.
You do. You kind of got to play it a little safer these days.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of sad it's gotten that way, but to see the Vikings pull off a prank when you know that they're going to get some kind of flack about it from some people, other people are going to absolutely love it, but they did it because they wanted to do it. They had fun. This was on Treadwell's birthday, by the way. He was turning 21, which when you think about it, it's like, wow, 21 years old.
Yep.
I don't even remember when I was 21, and not just because I was drunk the whole time. It was that long ago.
It makes me feel old. I'm 28, and I feel like I'm a pretty young guy, and I'm just thinking about, man, I was how old when I was 21? You were what? Good Lord. That's cool, though. I mean, it's cool, and to be 21 and be driving that nice of a car around, it's pretty legit. I think I could take that little abuse for that day. It'd be all right.
That car needs honey and saran wrap.
Yeah. It's easy to understand why sometimes some of these players make such boneheaded decisions that you or I look at and we go, well, why would you ever do anything like that? But then you remember, like you said, you're 21 and you have more money than the three of us will ever make combined, just given to you and like a signing bonus all at once. And what would you do if you were 21 and you probably came from nothing and they were given a vast amount of money? So that should also speak a little bit to some of the character of guys like a Teddy Bridgewater, who will go out and buy his mom a new car or a new house or something like that too.
It's cool to see these guys that came from humble beginnings. Like I was talking earlier about Mackenzie Alexander. That's a guy that came from almost nothing. He built himself up through hard work, and he was able to provide for his own family and everything now. So it's great to see stories like that. And getting back a little bit more to the Treadwell prank, you can assume that a large percentage, if not all, of those gummy treats are probably going to go to a charity or a children's hospital or something like that.
Chad Greenway's locker program.
That's just who they are, man. That's just who the Vikings are.
Yeah, Chad's got that locker program in all the schools. Well, there you go. That's a perfect thing to toss in there as well, too. So they'll get some good use out of it, too.
Absolutely. So, social media question of this week. We asked you guys who will be the next Minnesota Vikings player to cash in big. We just had Harrison Smith pretty recently sign a big old contract, and we want to know who you guys thought was going to be the next to be rolling in mountains of cash. Dorian Foley on Facebook said Anthony Barr. Corbin Johnson believes it will be Sharif Floyd. Manuel Mueller isn't ready to divulge that information yet. He says it's too soon to tell. Guami Hayes says that it's going to be Xavier Rhodes. Thomas Buse says next in line is easily Rhodes. He earned it and is always reliable both in coverage and just being healthy. Then if Barr isn't healthy, he'll earn a big payday as well. Brandon Alice says it's going to be Rhodes as well. Says it might end up being Khalil if he manages to have a solid season. We also have Floyd to re-sign too, but I expect Rhodes will get a bigger contract. We also need to restructure Adrian Peterson. No way we should pay him $17 to $18 million in 2017. I'm sure a lot of that will happen. We've got Tommy Gunn, who says the number 3 option, number 3 most unpopular answer at number 3, is Matt Khalil. He said, let's be honest, you don't really know what to do with him. Right now, we don't. Pretty honest.
You pay him because you got to pay him because you got to have a left tackle.
Yep.
Number 2 is Cordero Patterson. Said, seriously, there would be riots in the streets if this happened. And number 1, Kyle West's favorite, Ragnar.
Oh,
Says, oh,
really?
sweet mercy, this would be the best. Troll ever. But then we have my favorite response, which came from John Dostal. He says their number 1 scout, Adam Carlson. I'll take that big payday all the way to the bank.
We will take any payday we can get here at the podcast. You guys want to sponsor us? We'll show your product.
I'll order free beer. I'm telling you right now, I'll show up on time. I'll be 15 minutes early.
Give me an energy drink or something, I'll be like, check it out. I'll pretend to drink it, but I won't, like on TV. I'll be,
No, I still want to get us that Taco Bell sponsorship. I mean, come on.
We are never getting that Taco Bell sponsorship.
Taco Bell sponsorship. Come on, People Podcast is sponsored by Taco Bell. Live Moss. Or Subway.
Stuff.
For a while, we were going for Subway. Remember the weird Anthony Barr Subway head?
Oh, yeah.
That thing
We
was
got
creepy. That still haunts my nightmares.
Pepsi, you know, so we got to kind of push Pepsi a little bit, right?
Yeah, push Pepsi.
I do.
Yeah.
I do love me some Mountain Dew, so I could do the Pepsi sponsorship as well.
Baja Blast. Taco Bell.
But not Radisson. Not Radisson. Boo you,
Oh,
Radisson.
Oh, whatever. They left us high and dry. See you later. Go sponsor the Packers.
Oh. So we got a question for you guys next week. We're going to ask you guys to describe the Minnesota Vikings in 5 words or less. You can describe how they are now. You can use 5 words to explain your excitement for next season. You can talk about the players on the team that you like. You can, no matter what 5 words you want to use, have at it. Let us know what 5 words define the Minnesota Vikings for you. We'll use your answers on next week's show, and it should be fun.
Over under on how many people write a paragraph.
People are not very good at following orders. I'm hoping that we get more of the 5 words or less. I hope we get more people doing less than 5 rather than paragraphs. But now that you mentioned it, you know we're going to get like a 5-page response from Tommy Gunn, right?
Tommy Gunn, who will have, here's my word, and then here's my paragraph describing the word. We love you, Tommy.
Tommy, when you write this out, I want you to put your whole paragraph, but I want you to do it in 5-word increments. That's how we want it.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
there you go.
I tell you. And now it's time to put you guys on the spot. Do you guys have anything that you want to end the show with?
I do. I've been waiting. I told you I'm in a mood today, so I'm gonna hit this button real quick, and I'm gonna show you guys. This is what fan-sided looks like. You guys
Cool.
got to get it. Get it on your smartphone. Mr. Adam Carlson over there, he writes articles for thevikingage.com. This is where I get all of my Viking news, minus the NFL.com and Vikings.com. Cool outside the box. They have good writers. Like I said, Adam is one of them. I wanted to throw that out there, man. I love Fansided. Not a day goes by that I don't get like 5 notifications about the Vikings. And let's be honest, when you want something that's Viking-related, you can go on NFL.com and try to find some stuff. But these guys, they dig
find it.
give you material. Yeah.
Well, it'll send all the Minnesota Vikings news right to your phone or mobile device, wherever you want it. We're constantly bringing in writers, so if you have a point of view about the Minnesota Vikings you want to get across, come on, apply. Who knows? You might be brought on as the next writer on the Viking Age. But
Be the next Adam Carlson.
Hey,
do people really want that?
Sure.
dude,
Popular dude, Adam.
we have missed you the last week or so, and I'm telling you, I told Kyle this the other day. I've been the constant the last 3 weeks, and it's really, really weird. So we are glad to have you back and have an adult.
Yeah. The adult is back in the room. Did you ever think you would be referred to as the adult in the room, Adam?
I have actually. I got that when I was younger too. Everyone said I was too old for my age, and
Then you just wrap their car in honey. You're like, I'll show them.
well, they never knew I did it. That's the thing. You
Oh,
never
well,
tell
there
anyone
you
who
go.
did it. Like, oh my God, what happened to your car? It's like that scene on Tommy Boy when the door falls off. Oh no, what'd you do?
Tommy Boy reference. Oh boy, you're
That's
doing
classic.
good this show.
That
But
is
like we were
classic.
talking about the fan-sided app too, you can program it to send you notifications only based on what you like.
That's my favorite part about it. I love the draft. I had every freaking writer of every website that they push through about the draft, just trying to learn more about all the players. I'm a big basketball, and I'm college basketball and pro basketball as well. And if you're weird like me, you're from one state, you like another team, but you like some teams there or whatever. I pull in all my North Carolina Tar Heels, all my Charlotte Hornets, and all of my Minnesota Viking news from there. But
And it doesn't even have to be sports. You can get Game of Thrones. I believe there's even a site devoted to Taylor Swift and stuff like that.
what?
You like Taylor Swift?
I love Taylor Swift. I'm being serious. We're going to talk after this.
There's also one for The Walking Dead, which I am an editor on there. I do a pretty good job over there, I think, so check that out. As you can see below Kyle West's name there, he's got www.kylewestphotography.com. He has been selling framed photos like a madman.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. All kinds of awesome stuff that you can buy from my shop. Actually, these ones right now are on my Etsy shop. You should check that out as well. You can go on Facebook.com/Kyle J. West Photography. Yeah, and you can get all kinds of really cool, really awesome stuff. And hey, here's the bonus. I actually make money on these sales.
There you go.
Yeah. So all kinds of cool stuff that's going to be up in the shop.
Fancy.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Add
fancy,
more,
that's a
too.
song that Kyle Smith might cover one day over on his YouTube page.
That's cool. Hey, look, guys, I have a little logo too. Kyle Smith from YouTube. No, seriously.
Why do you have a printed out Vikings logo?
Okay,
What was that for? What was that for? What were you doing?
okay, so here's the story behind that. So where I'm deployed to, you guys know I work with dogs. So we all put a paw print on the wall for the last day or week or whatever we're here, and we write our name, our dog's name, their tattoo number, and then we write the month we got here and the month we leave. Well, everybody has a paw. There's like 100 paw prints on the walls from the years and years and years that people have been over here. I'm not going to do that. I'm putting the Vikings logo on the wall because I like to be different, and that's the one I printed out. So, but it just happened to be right here, and I was like, man, we got the Donald Trump Viking, we got the Viking Age logo, and I'm just going to pull this up real slow and see if anybody
Just
knows.
makeshift. Just makeshift.
Just keep slowly lifting it up.
You need to take a photo of that, like after you get it done, just because that would be a really cool thing to see. Like, up
Oh
on
yeah,
there.
it'll be up there. It'll be up all over my social media and stuff
Yeah.
once I leave here. It's a good little.
Tweet that out to like Vikings PR and like get a free retweet out of it.
Yeah, Mr. Smith always has a fun Instagram. He's got something going on. My
Yeah.
Instagram sucks.
I
I
like
take
to make
weird
Instagram-
pictures. It's not fun.
I Instagram cookies. You probably don't want to give me a follow.
I think the last thing I Instagrammed was a roll of toilet paper.
exciting.
That's a pretty Adam thing to do.
Not good at all. But we don't have a whole lot more to talk about this week. Hopefully there'll be some more news coming around. You know, lots of Vikings arrests, Love Boat stuff going on.
Oh yeah.
We'll
Jeff
have lots
Locke.
to discuss.
Fingers
Got
crossed.
locked
none
with
of
the
that.
coat hanger in the back alley.
Some racist or sexist or gender-specific stuff going on. Comments from coaches and players at camp or something. It'll happen maybe, right?
Yeah.
You remember when it was nonstop legal news? Like, we had to learn some stuff about the law to host this podcast?
I remember that when we were doing the stadium stuff. And we're like, well, according to Minnesota statute number blah 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 blah. It's,
Circa 2 years ago, when one person
Yeah.
got suspended for a season, we were like, oh man, can't wait to talk about that for the 8th week in a row.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we were watching? I remember me and you, Adam. We did this together, where we watched the live like webcam footage of the like Minnesota Senate floor hearing.
Oh, I watched that for days.
Yeah, me and you both did at the same time, and we had like a dorky little Facebook chat going back and forth where we were like angrily pounding on the keyboards, like, "Never get the stadium done."
Every little byline, we're watching the votes, yay, nay, just like, no.
No, that That's what we went through, man.
Oh, it was awful. We learned way too much about the judicial system and legal system, and
Scary, isn't it?
It's kind of fun, though. I kind of miss it a little bit. Just a little bit. I kind of miss that.
Well, maybe when the roof falls in on US Bank Stadium, we can do it again.
The big glass doors will just, like, collapse opening day.
We shouldn't even joke about this stuff. But that's the way Vikings fans are. We have endured some serious stuff.
We know to take things in stride. Like, we joke that we're either going to win the Super Bowl or we're going to have a 4-win season, because that's the extreme that there is.
We have
with
a
this team.
season. Everybody gets a printed logo.
I don't have anything cool to lift up. Nothing.
I was gonna wear my division championship hat too, but I couldn't find it.
My Xbox controller. That's about it.
Yeah. Man, we have went so south the last 5 minutes of the show now.
If anybody's still listening, I'll be impressed. But
you know what?
I've been looking at us rambling.
I've been looking at the viewers, and this whole time we've been rambling, we've lost one person.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah. I was just waiting. Oh, hey, there, number 2 bowed out. Number 2 just bowed out. So.
They don't like being called out for sticking around. That's what it is. They're like, oh, man, they caught me.
Oh, man. They are paying attention. I ain't gonna support this shit.
But all right, that's all I've got for this week. You guys got anything else you'd like to add before we head on out?
You've beat this bush for this week.
Nope, I think we're good.
All right. On that note, I'd like to thank you all for listening. Head on over to the Facebook page, Twitter @PurplePeoplePod, and stay classy, Minnesota.